Hello, I'm back. It's Motivation Monday. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I've had a very good motivating Monday, actually. I just had a lovely long talk with Glenys from horsechats.com. Now, that's a podcast, and you can find it. I've put the link up above for you, actually, horsechats.com. And she has been interviewing a different horse person every day for 160 days or something. I think she's got 160 horse chats on there. And there are some really interesting people on it. I'm on there, that's great. But actually, I'm not yet because she only just did the interview, but we'll be soon. But I've just had a quick look at it, and it's fascinating. There's tons of really interesting people. You should go along and have a look. I suggest you do. And she asked some really good questions. So I can't wait to go and listen to some of the others. It'll be great. So today we're going to talk about confidence. Last time we talked, hello, Rochelle. Last time we talked about setting goals and making plans, and I think it's really important. But something I hear a lot is, I just need a little bit more riding confidence. I used to be confident, now I'm not confident anymore. You know, what happens? Where does our confidence go? We lose it, we drop it or something, it falls off. And I think, first of all, what we need to do is define what confidence is, because it's like anything, you know, if it's not measurable, we can't really know when we are getting more confident and when we're not. We have to understand what it is. Is it just a feeling? Is it something really wishy-washy, or is it something we can actually measure? And until we define it for ourselves, we really don't know, because I think at the moment, probably confidence to me means something quite different than it might to you. So let's have a look at what it means to me. To me, it means knowing what might happen next. So to be a confident rider, I need to know what the horse might do next. If I give the horse a slap with the whip, for example, will that horse bark? And if I know the horse quite well, if I've trained the horse myself, I'm going to have a fairly good idea of the answer to that, which will make my decision of whether or not to slap the horse with the whip much easier for me, because I can't sit a buck. So there's no point in doing that then, is there? I better find a different way to train it. So confidence is knowing that, knowing what is next. And we can never know for sure, but we can get a pretty good idea about what the possibilities are if we know the horse well. And if we train our own horse, we know all along the way, because we are putting all that training on the horse. So we're working in a stepwise manner to get up to this point. We're not jumping in at this point. But when you lose confidence, what's happened is you've missed all of this getting there stuff, and you've jumped in at the top. So you know, if you threw me on a horse, for example, that I had never ridden before and I'd never seen being ridden, I wouldn't be confident, because I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what the horse is capable of. I don't know what education the horse has. So that is 90% of it, I think, is knowing what might happen next. And the other 10% is being able to change that. So once we know what the horse is capable of, or what training the horse has, or what training the horse is lacking, then we need to know how to do something about that. And these two things, you know, even out eventually. We start sort of not knowing how to train the horse at all, and then this comes up. And as this comes up, our ability to train the horse, so our skill, so does our confidence, and they'll both rise together. But we need them both. So we need the knowledge of what the horse knows and what we know. How are we able to teach the horse? And we need the skill, so the experience to actually do that. So that really comes back to our talk last week about setting goals, is getting that skill. It's going out and practicing it. You know, the best horse trainers you look at, or the best riders you look at, they're not magical. They weren't born with the ability. They went out and they worked at it, and they worked really hard at it. And you can do that too. But what happens is we lose our confidence, because we go and we either try and start at this point, or we're given this point, we're told to start at this point, and we never get what happens before that. So we never understand how the horse has learned the lesson, be it a good lesson or a bad lesson. And so that's what strips our confidence. So that's what we want to build up again. So, of course, we talk a lot about rider confidence, but what about the horse confidence? You know, we don't talk enough about that. And I think, you know, if you've got an anxious horse, and a lot of people do, because I've listened to you and what you've told me, more than anything is that the horse is anxious. You know, my horse is scared, my horse spooks, my horse is anxious, my horse, you know, hates floating, blah, blah, blah. There are lots and lots of things. So if a horse is anxious, why is the horse anxious? Because the horse doesn't really know what might happen next. So the horse is expecting a surprise. If the horse was confident, the horse would know what would happen next. So the horse would understand that if it got on the trailer, then it would go somewhere, and then would get off the trailer, and the horse would be fine. But the horse doesn't know that. The horse doesn't know what's going to happen next. So the horse is lacking confidence. So we need to do the same thing as we do with ourselves. So we need to show the horse that it can learn new things and that it won't get hurt, and that each little thing it learns, the next time we're going to build on that. So we'll use that. That's a good foundation. We'll build on that and we'll get you to here. And then we'll build on that because you know that and you understand that, and we'll get you to here. And eventually you're here and you're doing the flying changes, and the horse has traveled with you along that path, and you both understand it. So you're both confident. So you're doing the flying changes, you know, beautifully, because you've traveled the same path. And that's why it's so important that you do take responsibility to train your own horse, because if you want to get there, you have to have traveled that path. And if you look at all the best riders and all the top riders, they work with the horse all the time. So let's take an example. Let's have a little example of one that you could get. I've got some free training out, and the address to the free training is above. So if you pick that up, one of the lessons you're going to learn in that free training is to get your horse to move its hindquarters to the mounting block or the fence. I use the fence because my legs are so short, for safe mounting. So it's a lesson which teaches the horse to stand still by the mounting block so that you can get on. And what we do in that lesson is break it down to the spot on the horse we want to move, the direction we want it to go, the motivator, what's motivating the horse to move that spot, and the reward. So the spot on the horse we want to move in this particular lesson is the left hind, because what I want to be able to do is get up on the mounting block and stand there and click my fingers at the horse's hindquarter and have him move the hindquarter to me. So when I go to get on, I don't fall on the ground, which often happens when the horse swings away from the mounting block. So that's the spot. The spot is the left hind. The direction is towards me. The motivator, we're going to use a dressage whip, and I will talk you through this whole lesson in that free training video. And the reward is to stop tapping and praise the horse. And what you'll find in about 5 minutes, when you break a lesson down like that, 5 to 10 minutes, you will have your horse, when your cue will become walking up to the mounting block or the fence, getting on and pointing or clicking at the hindquarter. And the horse will come over, stand perfectly still while you get on, praise the horse, and then wait until you ask the horse to move off. It's perfect. And the good thing about this is anyone can teach it. Your horse can be started or not started. I teach it on all my unstarted horses because I like them to get used to having me above them, and it's good if I can stand on the fence and then I can sack them out and play with them from up high, and they get used to that feeling. Or if your horse is already started, that's great too. It's a much better place than getting on from the ground, of course. So that will be good for the horse. So the horse will no longer, if you do get on from the ground, and it does pull the saddle across the horse. They've done some pretty good studies about that say it's a bad idea. So that will give your horse a lot of confidence as well, because mounting stops being uncomfortable, at least. It's painful, uncomfortable. And it will give you confidence, because getting on does set the tone for the rest of the ride. You know, if your horse walks off before you're ready, before you've got your feet in the stirrups, and can be quite unsettling for you, then you have to ask the horse to stop. And I would much rather just step on from the fence or the mounting block, and then I can rearrange myself and get my reins right and get my whip and my stirrups and everything. And then the horse will wait until I ask the horse to move. And that way the horse is, where you set off from the very beginning in that bubble of communication, and we take that bubble with us and off we go. So that's my little thing on confidence today. I hope you enjoyed it. Do get the free training above, as well as the email series if you're not already. And I've also given you a link to the Horse Chats podcast. So go and enjoy some of those too. All right. I'll see you tomorrow for Training Tuesday. Bye.